The dashboard and option panel gives you a lot of information at a glance, but one section deserves special attention. On the right side of the screen, you'll find the Ratios panel. This is where the platform goes beyond simply showing you whether you made or lost money and starts telling you how well your system actually works. These numbers are the difference between a trader who gets lucky occasionally and one who understands whether their edge is real, consistent, and scalable. Let's go through them one by one. The first ratio is the profit and loss ratio. This compares the average size of your winning trades to the average size of your losing ones. A value of 2.08 means that on average, your winners are more than twice as large as your losers. In other words, when you're right, you make significantly more than you lose when you're wrong. That asymmetry is one of the foundations of a healthy trading system. Next is the profit factor. This one looks at the big picture. It divides your total gross profit by your total gross loss across all trades. Above 1, the system is profitable. Above 2, it's solid. Above 3, it's excellent. At 4.15, the system generates $4.15 for every dollar lost in total. It's a simple but powerful measure of overall system quality. The mathematical expectation answers the most practical question of all. How much should I expect to make on average every time I put on a trade? At $594.08, this figure accounts for both winning and losing trades. A positive value confirms the system has a real statistical edge, not just a lucky streak. The average return on risk per trade measures the average percentage return on the capital you put at risk, calculated trade by trade. At 17.72% per trade, this tells you how efficiently each trade is using the capital exposed. It's especially meaningful when you track it over time, because consistency here is worth more than occasional spikes. The average annualized return on risk takes that per-trade return and projects it to an annual scale based on how often and how long you trade. At 876.82%, Option Panel is telling you that at this pace, your system would multiply the capital at risk nearly 9 times over a full year. A striking number, and one worth monitoring closely as your trade history grows. The max percent drawdown measures the largest peak-to-trough decline in your cumulative P&L as a percentage. Think of it as your system's worst losing streak, expressed as a percentage drop from the high point. Here, it shows a dash, which means no drawdown has been recorded yet, or there isn't enough history to calculate it. As your trade log fills in, this will become one of the most important numbers to watch. The average risk per trade tells you how much capital you're putting on the line, on average, each time you open a position. The negative value reflects that this is an exposure figure, not a gain. In this case, an average maximum exposure of $5,668.42 per trade. Knowing this number helps you size your positions consistently and manage your overall portfolio risk. The max profit per trade is simply the best individual result in your tracked history, $1,630. On its own, it's interesting, but it becomes much more meaningful when you compare it to the next ratio. The max loss per trade is the largest single loss recorded, minus $1,111.96. Notice the relationship between these two numbers. The best trade produced nearly 1.5 times what the worst trade cost. That kind of asymmetry, where your ceiling is meaningfully higher than your floor, is exactly what you want to see in a well-structured option strategy. And finally, the average days in trade. This tells you how long positions are held on average from the moment they're opened to the moment they're closed. At 7.4 days, this system operates in short-term options territory, consistent with strategies like credit spreads, iron condors, or short-dated directional trades. It's a simple metric, but it tells you a lot about the nature and rhythm of the system you're running. Taken together, these ratios give you a complete picture of your trading system's health, not just whether it's making money right now, but whether the edge behind it is real, repeatable, and worth building on.